Welcome everybody to the Miami Heat season preview and predictions. So, Miami Heat's getting ready for the 2023-2024 season in just 2 days. And I think today is the perfect opportunity to make this preview. What happened last night, I'm over it. I think I said what I needed to say. And there's more evidence of the corruption of that particular referee who has been suspended prior. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, that's the last time I'm going to talk about it. But anyway, back to the original point. Miami Heat looking to go back to the playoffs. More importantly, trying to get back to the finals with some new signings, new additions. And after an off-season just dragged out of potential rumors of Damian Lillard coming to Miami, the first thing that happened was July 1st, Damian Lillard requested a trade specifically to Miami. And throughout the months, Miami Heat is trying to make some package deal for Portland Trailblazers to come up with some sort of package, or a three-way package, or even as far as the four-way, right? As long as Damian does come to Miami, that's all that matters. It didn't matter to give us someone like Haskins, who, by the way, we drafted during the offseason after the NBA Finals. Jaime Haskins Jr., welcome to Miami Heat. He has, after his preseason impressive, he has made the roster, not surprising. Nikola Jovic has made the roster. Highsmith, no surprise there. And then your typical starters with Tyler Hero, who was a bench player, who is now going to be the starting role. And guys that stands out: Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Love, who has re-signed with the Heat for another year or so. I think it was 3 years. I could be wrong. And a guy who has been with the Heat before, but now has came back. Josh Richardson, welcome back to the Heat. Is it Thomas Bryant? I think it's Thomas Bryant. But regardless, a big center, and I think he was he from the? It was either Denver or Lakers. It might have been Denver, the guy who beat us in the finals. Then Caleb Martin's still around. Orlando Robinson and Drew Smith signing that contract with the Miami Heat. Those B players type players. And then the three two-way players, I mean, no surprise there. Jamal Cain signed a two-way contract. Now, a two-way is basically you play for the G League, but if there's any situation with the official roster, they get called up to play in the NBA during a temporary period of time. And now we have three players. And it does not mean that other players from the G League are not going to get called up. That's not true. It just simply means that they have made the official roster. However, they can play in the G League to continue to get better and to be more prepared for the professional. That's just how it is. They play for the G League and the professional. And we have three guys who has now signed a two-way contract. It's Jamal Cain, it's Hampton, and the guy who's been really good in the preseason, Cole Swider. Swider made a really great preseason, especially the one game. I think it was against Charlotte, the first preseason game, where he scored 17 points off of Charlotte. He's done good enough to make it to the two-way roster, so congrats to Cole Swider as well. And I think Cole Swider is going to be the future. I'm just going to say it flat out. With the way how he's playing in the preseason, he's going to definitely be a good player in the future for the Miami Heat. It's just a matter of when he's going to come to and more prepared he's going to be for the NBA. And he was the guy that was in the Lakers, so that's him. Bryant is the Denver guy, the big center. So what we badly needed a center, we got the center, as well as the power forward, Josh Richardson. Fairly decent off season. But then things definitely turned for the worse, as we found out just about a few weeks ago, before I went to California. We got the news, Damian Lillard has been traded. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. But then he got traded to the Bucks. the team he had never desired to go to the Bucks, and then all of a sudden, I'm excited to be in Milwaukee. I'm like, what happened to the part where you said, I just want Miami. I want to be at Miami. No other place. I will not even go to practice if I get traded to a different team. Boy, that's a bunch of bullshit. Apparently, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard duo is going to be a major threat. And what's worse is we have a better package than Milwaukee did, and Portland just traded for an absolute terrible deal that Milwaukee has sent out. And then only to find out a little bit later that Jrue Holiday wanted out of Portland. They didn't even want to be there. Was it a three-way trade? I think it was a three-way trade. And that package deal was garbage. I'm sorry to say, but yeah, Portland did it anyway. Didn't even go for the better package deal, which was Hero, which was Haskins, which was Caleb Martin, and even Kyle Lowry. One of those talks was Kyle Lowry, but they were going to trade away Tyler Hero, Robinson, Caleb Martin, and Lowry. As far as the other draftees like Jokic and Haskins, who we have drafted, and yet they did nothing. Portland was just being very petty, and then traded for Lillard to go to Milwaukee anyway. So we'll see what happens when we finally meet each other in Miami. I have a feeling they're going to boo the crap out of Portland Trailblazers, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is the roster. Kyle Lowry at guard. He's a point guard. Forward is Jimmy Butler. No surprise there. His emo look. I mean, really, Jimmy, you got to go with the emo look. Bam Adebayo, who struggled in the NBA Finals. I might have said some harsh things about the NBA Finals there, but in the end, they were just trying. They were really trying, so I'm definitely going to try to be more optimistic about that, especially it's going to be a long season. Tyler Hero's back. His hand is good. Nikola Jovic making some, no surprise there, coming back with the Miami Heat, especially with the FIBA World Championship and losing in the finals. I mean, definitely feel bad for Jovic. He was so close. Haskins making his debut soon, but I don't think he's gonna make his debut Wednesday. I think he's hurt. Highsmith, Duncan Robinson, Kevin Love, Josh Richardson, Tomas Bryant, Caleb Martin, Orlando Robinson, and Drew Smith. Two ways: Jamal Cain, Hampton, and Swider. So that's the roster there. Miami Heat's looking to get back to the playoffs. That's more important. So, and then making that crazy run like they did last season against Milwaukee, New York, and somehow still surviving against Boston. And then we end up going to finals. All right, now let's talk schedule. So we have an interesting situation, and I'll get there. I'll get there in a little bit. But for now, let's talk about October games. We got our first game against Detroit in Kaseya Center. That's the new name, Kaseya Center, on Wednesday. That's on 7:30 against Detroit. National television against the Eastern Conference Final opponents, Boston against Boston Celtics. Oh boy, now that's where it gets interesting. Now they got Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the guy is just automatic. Marcus Smart is gone. He has been traded away, I think. I forgot where he's traded off to, but anyway, they got Jrue Holiday in their team as well. So that's gonna be a fierce battle on Friday on ESPN on Friday. Like I said, next game is on the 28th. They just whoever had made this idea to go to Boston and then fly out quickly to was it St. Paul or Minneapolis? Regardless, it's in Minnesota. It's in Minneapolis, Target Center. So they go to Boston, immediately fly out to Minnesota for the Western Conference game, and then back east against Milwaukee. Oh gosh. Now, so already 4 games are stacked between Detroit, Boston, which is going to be on national television, and already a Western Conference game against Minnesota in Minnesota. I suspect it being an automatic L. I mean, for some reason we just can't win in Minnesota. I just don't know why. I don't know why that's the case. But then we have a bigger task against Milwaukee, and it's going to be such a tough start. It is such a tough start already for the Miami schedule. Now we go to November. We go back home against the Brooklyn Nets, who are still trying to find out something with the young team that they trade their super team away. Brooklyn Nets in Kaseya Center November 1st. And then November 3rd. Okay, now we get to talk about this. There's this new thing that the NBA came up with. It's pretty much what the MLS is doing with the Leagues Cup thingy in the tournament, in US Open Cup as well. They're trying out this NBA in-season tournament. It's a group play that during the season they have a championship during the season, which I think it's in December. It's basically like a tournament. It's basically like playoffs during the season. It's so weird. It's weird to me. I guess they're trying to come up with something new. We'll see what happens, I guess. We'll see what happens. But if it means more Miami Heat games, more Miami Heat games if they make it all the way to the in-season tournament finals. I mean, I don't know. No clue. By the way, we're in the group play between Washington, Charlotte, New York, and Milwaukee. Oh, God, Milwaukee. It's just flat out ridiculous how they schedule these things. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. And in the finals, whoever makes it to the in-season playoffs, they go to the hockey city that beat the other hockey team in the finals, Vegas. So we'll see what happens there. We'll come across that bridge when we get there. But anyway, the first group play, they play the Washington Wizards. That's on November 3rd. That's the first in-season tournament thingy. I guess it's one of those things to get excited during the season. If get excited about something during the season because it is a long season. If that's the case, okay, I'm cool with it. I'm fine with it. If it means getting some playoff mentality during the regular season, fine by me. Fine by me. Although I don't know if it evens out to 82 games. I just don't know. The math is just really difficult. It says it's 82 games, but when I do calculators, for some reason, it's giving me 80. I don't know. I could be wrong. I hope that's not the case. Getting rid of 2 games is just, I don't know. Shorten the season, be my guess. But I don't think people will appreciate it. Maybe with baseball, they might appreciate it, but I don't know. That's just me. Anyway, getting off topic. We play the Wizards in season tournaments in group play on November 3rd. Then we have a weekend off. We stay in Miami where we play against the Los Angeles Lakers, the team that beat us in the finals 3 years ago. Lakers trying to get back to the playoffs as well as trying to make it to the finals. LeBron going for his 21st season. I mean, that's just a remarkable career that he has. That's going to be on NBA TV. So for those who don't have NBA TV, try to subscribe. I don't know. Or use some stream. I don't know. Next up is Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know if Ja Morant will be back by then. It's a shame, too. I mean, Ja Morant, we're not going to talk about what happened. But they play Memphis in Memphis. Then we go back east against Atlanta, in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's going to be a tough game. We have some score to settle with them. And then for some reason, NBA makes a bright idea to fly. Okay, we fly to Memphis, go back east against Atlanta, and then fly back to the west against San Antonio Spurs. And then fly back up to the east against Charlotte for group play. What kind of scheduling is this? I'm just asking for a friend. Anyway, we got Charlotte Hornets, which is for some reason we can't beat. But this is an NBA in-season tournament. That's on November 14th. November 16th, my birthday. On NBA TV, they play the Brooklyn Nets in Kaseya Center. Then after that, we go up to Chicago, Illinois, to play the Bulls 2 games in a row in Chicago. So we get that Chicago trip over with. Then we go back. Then we go fly out to the East against Cleveland. And an in-season tournament, against New York, the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. That's going to be on ESPN. That's the same day. That's the same night that the Dolphins are playing the Jets at MetLife. I don't know if I'm crazy enough to go through those back to back. And then staying in New York City, they play the Brooklyn Nets on November 25th. And then fly back down south to Miami. It's an in-season tournament game against Milwaukee. That's on TNT. That's going to be an insane game if that were the case, if they're trying to play for something. Or does the players even care? Does the players even care? Then next game is against Indiana Pacers. That's going to be on NBA TV. That's the November games. Then Indiana stays down in Miami against the Heat. That is November 12th. Now, like I said, depending if the Heat make it into the in-season finals, that's where there's a break. There is a break between December 2nd, and December 11th. There's a break in between because if the teams like our teams make it into the in-season playoffs, they fly to Vegas for their playoffs. So there is no schedule in between. Although I would say this: if I don't know, I'm kind of worried that the schedule is uneven. I just don't know. We'll see what happens. I could be wrong. Either way, there's a hiatus in between because of that, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, then after the hiatus, it's Heat versus Charlotte in North Carolina. We got them at 7. Then immediately after that, it's Charlotte again, but this time they fly down to Miami, kind of like a playoff game. Then Chicago Bulls comes down for 2 straight games. Then after that, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then after that, Battle of Florida. That's going to be in Amway Center between the Heat and the Magic. Then go back down to Miami against the Hawks. Then we have a Christmas matchup. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm probably going to do a rare preview on that day because it's a special occasion. Why not? It's a special occasion. I want this to be a Christmas special, so we got the Philadelphia 76ers. Not related to what happened last night. Then we fly out to the West. We have a first West Coast trip. And already we are going into some bullshit. Golden State Warriors in San Francisco. I've been to San Francisco. That's going to be on NBA TV. Then to end the year off, end 2023 calendar year, they go to Utah. So we'll see what happens there. And then after that, they go to Los Angeles for a few days. And then on the New Year day, they played the Los Angeles Clippers on 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Then national television against the Lakers at Crypto.com. Used to be Staples Center. That's going to be on national television. And then flying a little bit more Eastern, but not East enough, we go to Phoenix. That's on January 5th. And then finally, we fly back home against series against the Houston Rockets. Then next game is Oklahoma City Thunder. Then the next battle of Florida between Heat and the Magic at Kaseya. And then the final game between us and Charlotte. I think it's the final game. I'm not sure. Against Charlotte Hornets. Then after that, it's Brooklyn Nets to fly up automatically to Brooklyn. Then flying up to north of the border, Toronto. We got the Raptors on the 17th. Then flying back down to Miami is the Hawks game. Then we go to Central Florida again to play the Magic at Amway again. I might be able to go to that one. I'm not quite sure. So, I don't know. Then go back down to Miami against the Grizzlies. Then, immediately after that, back-to-back games. And a couple more national television games. It's between the Boston Celtics in Miami. That's going to be on TNT. And then 2 days later, we go to MSG for a match at ABC. Everybody can watch this game. Heat versus Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Then go back home against Sacramento Kings. The Kings have a lot to prove as well. Then go up north against Washington. And then fly back home against the Clippers. We'll see what happens against the Clippers. Then another battle of Florida. That might be the last one. against the Magic. Against the Magic. Then after that, back-to-back days, it's against the Spurs. Then ABC matchup on February 11th, which is Super Bowl night. Pretty clever. You're going to have a national televised game before the Super Bowl. Is Boston Celtics versus Miami Heat. So, okay, I'll willing to watch them before the Super Bowl. Probably not. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to watch this game. I'm not sure about Super Bowl. Also, then we go to Milwaukee. We're another tough matchup against Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then go to Philadelphia between Harden and Embiid. Then we go back. Actually, we don't go back. We actually go down south. This is we get to the. Okay, sorry about that. This is actually a All-Star break. Then after that's the All-Star break. Then after the All-Star break, which actually takes a while, so good NBA hiatus there. We play the Pelicans in New Orleans. Is it New Orleans? Yeah, it's New Orleans. But for some reason, it's a bright idea, even though that's the New Orleans is in the Central Time Zone. They think it's a good idea to put that game at 10 o'clock. What are you doing? That's not fair. At the least that could have been 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock would have been nice. Then we fly out west to Sacramento. That's going to be on NBA TV. By the way, the Heat and Pelicans game is going to be on ESPN. I'm surprised they make it a national televised game, but I'm not complaining. Then after that, NBA TV matchup between the Heat and the Kings. Then, anticipating, we're about to see some Heat against the Trailblazers. The Heat have a score to settle against Portland Trailblazers because what the front office did against the Heat during the offseason is pathetic, petty. So, the NBA commission's like, maybe it's a good idea to put them in TNT. So, they are. And on February 29th, which is a leap year, it's the NBA Finals rematch. It's the Heat versus Nuggets in Colorado on TNT. The Heat looking for some revenge against the Nuggets. Then we fly back home against the Jazz. That's going to be on NBA TV. Then we play against the Detroit Pistons. Then on national television, it's the Mavericks in Dallas. Another big test. Then fly up north against Oklahoma City Thunder. Then we fly back to Miami against the Washington Wizards. Then 3 days later, it's the national televised game again, NBA Finals rematch against the Denver Nuggets. Then after that, 2 straight games in Detroit, Michigan. 2 straight games against the Pistons. Then after that, ESPN matchup on March 18th, back-to-back days against the 76ers. Then fly to Cleveland to play them on the 20th of March. Then fly back home against the Pelicans on NBA TV. That's March 22nd. After that game, it's against the Cavaliers. Then against the Golden State Warriors. I have a feeling that might be flexed to national televised if both teams are doing good. Then I'm surprised they didn't put this on national television. Heat versus Trailblazers again. Oh, I have a feeling the crowd is going to be electric especially against a team like the Trailblazers after what they did, some stupid move against the Heat during the offseason. Then our final time in Washington, in Washington, D.C. against the Wizards. So that's our final time up there, and we have 3 games. Do we? I don't know. That's just weird. The group. Okay, I figured it out. Anyway, then we go to April where we play against the Knicks in Miami. If they flex out that one, that'll be okay. They might not flex every single game. That'll just be too. Yeah. Anyway, there is a national televised game after that. It's against the 76ers. Then after that, we go to Houston, and then we play them on a Friday the 5th of April. Then go up to Indiana to play the Pacers on a Sunday. Then Heat versus Atlanta for April 9th. Then our final national televised game, April 10th, it's the Mavericks. Here we go. And our final time, ESPN. Then two straight games in Miami, Florida against the Raptors. Against the Raptors at home. That's gonna be on Friday, and that's gonna be on a Sunday. Now, my question is, because they always change up the holidays. When is Easter? I don't know. It might be the 14th. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, whichever Easter it is, I'm happy for it. And I would say, and for my prediction, we make the playoffs. I think they'll have a better record this season if they are balanced, if they are definitely why isn't this thing working? If they are in sync, like they always been in sync, but they're gonna want to play. They're definitely gonna want to play. So while we miss players like Victor Oladipo, Max Strus, and Gabe Vincent, sometimes you just gotta move on. And I think after the NBA Finals, we knew they were going to leave the Heat, but we'll see what happens under this new regime. It's pretty much the same huge core with Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, but the new guys, somewhat new, somewhat old. Josh Richardson, definitely gonna have a hype around him coming back, and Tomas Bryant, who is gonna be a big time player for the Miami Heat. We'll see what happens with him, and I think we're gonna make the playoffs again for the 5th straight year. I don't think we're gonna do the play-in bullshit again. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there, and let's see what happens to the NBA in-season tournament. I'm really curious. I'm curious. So if it works, great. The only thing I'm worried about, is it even with the typical schedule? Is it actually 82 games? Is it actually 82 games? If it's still 82 games, even if we didn't make it to the in-season playoffs, then you know what? Good. If it's still 82 games during the regular season, not in-season tournament, good. That's really all I care for. Otherwise, okay, cool. Bonus content, right? Bonus. So, anyway, folks, that's gonna do it for this video. If you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content, because Miami TVG has his back. And when he does, hit it right there with your entertainment you deserve. This is Miami TVG. Let's go Heat. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Heat content. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Florida Panthers content. Frozen Frenzy. That was the name. That was the name of what they're doing on Tuesday. Frozen Frenzy. It's pretty much like NFL Red Zone. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.